What's up everybody, TechChucker here, and I've got a review for you of the Marvel Legends Thor Ragnarok Wave Gladiator Hulk Build-a-Figure. Now this is a really good Build-a-Figure. Hasbro really did a great job on this thing. So let's go ahead and take a closer look. Alrighty, let's go ahead and take a look at the articulation on this because I think Hasbro did a great job. In the head he's got a ball hinge and he can look up. Not a huge amount, but it's still pretty good for a big figure. He can get his chin all the way down into his chest, which is pretty sweet. He's got good side-to-side motion, no issues there. What really impresses me is the tilt. He actually is able to get a lot of good range of motion with that tilt in the head. Shoulders, he's got a ball hinge, and those arms pop off really easy because it's a Build-A-Figure, but they pop back in. But the cool thing is with this big figure, he can get his arm all the way out, which is pretty sweet, even with that shoulder piece. On the other side, there we go, another one pops off. On the other side, you can actually get his arm just a hair above the shoulder, which is pretty cool. You just have to make sure that you kind of pop that back in. He's got full range of motion, or full 360. You just kind of have to work it on that side. And yeah, the accessories are going to pop off a little bit, but who really needs the full 360 anyway? But you've got it. It does work. He has an upper bicep swivel that works decent on this side. On his right side, it works better, obviously, because there's nothing getting in the way. In the elbow, he has single hinges in the elbows. Not a lot of range of motion. It'd be nice if it could go a little further. This side, about the same. You know, nothing too spectacular. But also, he's a huge, bulky figure. So I don't know that we need it that much. Wrists, he's got a peg joint with a hinge, and this is kind of limited also, but it does work. The armor gets in the way a little bit. Both sides are basically the same. This one is, I think it's frozen. Let's see if I can, there we go. Yeah, so not a lot of range of motion, but I would say for such a big figure, it's still pretty good and a lot better than they've done in the past. In the torso, he's got what I believe to be a double ball peg, and he's actually got a really nice ab crunch that works really good. He can arch his back a decent amount. He's got good, side to side rotation, no issues with that. And then he's got a nice side crunch, which is really cool. I really like this. I just think Hasbro did a great job, and they gave us an actual waist swivel as well. So there's a lot of torso waist articulation on this figure that we don't usually get. In the hips, he's got T-jointed ball joints, and these work pretty good. He's able to do a decent amount of splits. You can see mine is getting a little bit loose, and that just bothers me a little bit because he's kind of a heavy figure. But he can kick forward about this much, not 90 degrees, but it's okay. Backwards is not very great. He can't really kick back much. He's got an upper thigh cut, which is where it connects. Double jointed knees, those work pretty good, especially for a big figure. Yeah, that works pretty good. Well over 90 degrees. I'm happy with that. No shin cut, but that's fine. He's got a hinge in the ankle, and he can get his foot back quite a bit. That's really nice. I'm happy with that. But moving it forward, it's pretty limited. It's not going to go very far with that. But, I'm still happy with it. The ankle rocker is really nice. Very smooth. Good and tight on mine. So overall, the articulation, I would say Hasbro really knocked this one out of the park, especially with the armor and whatnot. They still were able to get a good range of motion on this figure, so I'm super happy. Alright, let's take a look at the sculpt and paint, because Hasbro really did a great job on this, especially compared to their other figures. But this head sculpt I just love. They did a great job. They sculpted it nice. The eyes are painted really nice and clean. The hair is sculpted awesome. I like the battle paint that they did on his face. I just think they did a really great job on this head sculpt. The hair, again, nice detail work on that. It just looks super good. Maybe a little more expression on the face would be good, but we'll get into that a little bit later. Moving down into the rest of the figure, I mean, this is just really good work. Hasbro did a really nice job with the sculpt. You can see here, they actually kept the continuity of the paint as though it was painted on after he got dressed, which is really cool. So I love it. The detail work, you can see the little purple accents throughout the armor and whatnot, and it's a soft rubbery plastic for a lot of these pieces, so they're flexible and they move around. They don't get in the way. You can see even this shoulder piece is relatively soft, but it's sculpted with some nice detail work. Down on the arms, I mean, this is really nicely done, and they painted it. There's, for the most part, they didn't miss much. I mean, you can see that buckle is painted. They just did a great job. You can see on his chest, they even painted in hair, which is kind of cool. Maybe if it was sculpted, so there was a little bit more depth, but honestly, I like the effort. And it looks pretty good. So Hasbro did an amazing job moving down into this the skirt. This also looks really good. There's lots of different details, and they painted a lot of them. It's relatively soft in the front. In the back, these flaps are very, very soft, so they're not going to get in the way. You can check out some Hulk butt if you want. I'm not saying I'm gonna, even though I just did. But yeah, they just did such a nice job. There's so many details. Just really cool. I like these little spiky things. Just super nice. I wish they would have painted the toenails because I love toenails and fingernails. I don't know why. The sandals could come off if you wanted. You might heat it up. I don't know why you'd take them off, but you could. Again, I don't know why you would, but it just looks so good. And it's nice that it's a separate piece, not fully sculpted on. The hands are sculpted really good. Paint on the fingernails would have been nice just to give it a little bit more contrast. But again, that's just nitpicking because Hasbro did such a great job with this figure. It looks so nice. Alrighty, let's do a quick measurement and then we'll do a size comparison because this figure is really quite big. He's just about 9 inches. I'm going to say about 8 3/4 inches roughly. Yeah, about 8 3/4. So not as big as I maybe would have liked, but I still don't care because it's a good beefy figure. If we throw in, let's see if I can find Deadpool. Here we go. So throwing Deadpool in, Hulk is considerably larger, and that's exactly what I expect. That's what I wanted. Had they added an extra inch on this figure, would have been great. But you know what? I really can't complain. I'm still really happy with how big he is. He looks so good. There's just so much detail work. He almost doesn't look like Hasbro would have made this figure. Okay, so Hasbro actually gave us several accessories. The first is this helmet, which is really, really cool. It looks really nice. They did a great job with the sculpt, but that paint work with the shaded red to black is really, really good and kind of out of character with Hasbro. But they did a really nice job. It looks super good. If it was a little softer, maybe that'd be okay. The back flap here is kind of soft. These side flaps are fairly soft as well. I kind of feel like if they were a little thinner, it wouldn't make him look... because he just looks slightly off. But I can totally get past that because it still looks really great. But those side flaps, I think, should be a little thinner. And I think the top maybe shouldn't have quite so much on it before it gets to the fin feather thing. But whatever, it looks great. He also comes with a battle axe, and this thing is really cool. You can see they sculpted it super nice. There's a lot of little gashes and battle-worn looks that they've sculpted in. You can see there on the handle that it looks like it's seen some action, which is really cool, that attention to detail. I like the handle, especially the head of this axe looks really good. Just kind of that rusty look looks really, really neat. Hasbro, put some attention to that detail. It is warped a little bit, but that's okay. I have noticed that this is really hard to get into his hands. I mean, you really have to force it. So if his hands were just a little softer, that would go a long way. But you can get it in. You just have to be careful and kind of force it in there. Maybe heat it up if yours is really tight. But that's not it. We also get his giant hammer thing, which, I don't know, to me it looks like an engine block. But what is that? I don't know if that's supposed to be there, some sort of gunk, but whatever. This thing looks really good. It's super heavy. I mean, if you actually hit someone with this, it would probably hurt. But again, this thing is sculpted super nice. There's a nice little bit of paint on it, and it's basically the exact same size handle. So because his hands are really, really hard and just a hair too tight, I'm not going to try and shove that one in for right now. But these accessories are really, really good. And if you include the armor pieces that they gave us with the skirt, I mean, it just... Hasbro never gives us this amount for a Build-A-Figure. So I'm tempted to say that this may be Hasbro's best Build-A-Figure that they have done as of yet. Because right now I've kind of been toying back and forth with, is it Hulkbuster or this Gladiator Hulk? And because the Hulkbuster doesn't really have any paint, I think this one's going to edge it out. This is just such a nice figure. Hopefully Hasbro can continue doing this with their Build-A-Figures. That would make the $20 price point on their figures, for the most part, worth it, because this figure is just so nice. Alrighty folks, I hope this review was helpful. If it was, go ahead and hit the like button, hit the subscribe button if you haven't already, leave a comment, let me know what you think of this figure, and until next time, I'll see you guys later.